morning. I'm meteorologist Lisa Green with a look at our forecast. On this first alert weather day, we're going to be talking about fire danger because the wind is going to pick up here today, and that's going to create some issues along with our dry conditions that we have going on. So watching out for that, but also some changes ahead too. You know, we're talking about heat, and then we're going to flip the switch with some rain coming for this weekend, and then after that, we start to cool down. So some changes coming our way here in the forecast. Let's talk about the heat first. Yesterday was a record-setting day. So let's take a look at what we saw yesterday. We saw temperatures rise into the 90s in some spots. You can see Fargo got to 92 degrees. That wasn't a record. Yesterday's record was 96, so didn't quite soar to that number, but it was still very warm. We saw 93 in Sisseton. That was a record high. And Grand Forks got to 89, which broke the record high at the airport there, which was 88. So it was 1 degree above that. Other places that saw 90, Fergus Falls, Wadena, and Wheaton got to 91. So very warm day. You can see where it was cooler up to the northwest, and there will be other areas today where we'll be more on the cool side. So again, the heat is here, and it's been dry, and so that's helping to dry out the fields, which has been great for farmers to get in for harvest, but it's also gotten extremely dry in some areas. And with the growing season ending, there's a lot of dead vegetation out there developing, and that creates fuel for the fire. And again, we do have a first alert weather day today and Wednesday for that fire weather risk. Today it's going to be for only parts of the valley. Tomorrow it's going to be more areas that get in on this. So here's a look at our fire danger. For today, again, we're watching that dry vegetation and dry air that's been developing and in place. It's today the wind that kicks in that creates that issue with, you know, any fires that do develop. They could get out of control quickly with the wind helping to spread that if it kicks in here later today. So here's a look at our fire forecast. We're going to focus in on today first. We're looking at areas in eastern North Dakota being the area of greater threat. Now, we're not looking at a high risk. You can see here that fire danger, more moderate risk in yellow. High would be more toward that red color, but we're still looking at a risk, and we don't want to see any fire spread at all here. So that's today. And then heading into Wednesday, more parts of the valley. This particular model kind of keeps it more concentrated in the valley and a little bit east of the Red River. But I do think anywhere in the valley where we see those winds start to pick up, we could have some issues. So just something to keep in mind as we head into the next couple of days. So I'm going to take a look at a few wind forecasts here as we're going along in the day today. You can see when things are going to start to get a little tough. So for Fargo, you can see even around lunch hour, 1 p.m., it's not too strong for our wind. But once we get into the afternoon, it starts to kick in. We're looking at gusts that are going to be into the 20s to about 30 miles per hour. In addition to that, there are places where the wind will kick in a little stronger first, which is more in our western communities. So those are areas, again, where the fire danger is a little bit greater during the hottest time of day. When we're hotter and the air is dry, the humidity, the relative humidity, will be driest with our temperature that's warmer because the dew point doesn't change. That stays at a certain number. So the amount of moisture in the atmosphere doesn't change, but our temperature is going up. So the difference between the temperature and the dew point, that spread gets larger during the warmest part of the day. And so the relative humidity goes down. And so once we start seeing that go down more and more, that creates more concern about fire spreading. So afternoon and evening hours is when we do have warnings for fire danger. That's usually when it's for during those times of day. So we don't have any current warnings right now, so that's good, but still it's something we're watching for. So here's a look at our wind trend. You can see today we're looking at winds that are going to be gusting out of the south, getting into that 20 to 30 mile per hour range for gusts, maybe a little higher than that toward the end of the day today. And then moving into this evening, we're looking at gusts getting into 30s to 40s overnight. Now, not everywhere will see 40 miles per hour, but there is that possibility. And then moving on into Wednesday, this is going to be our windier day. Today's going to be breezy for most of us, and then Wednesday we're looking at windier conditions developing for Wednesday, and that's going to be more widespread too. So let's take a look at that in our hour-by-hour forecast here. Hopefully this works today. Yesterday, I think we had a model update in the middle of the presentation, and that kind of hung things up for us, but let's try. So looking ahead to today, this morning it's been pretty quiet. And as we work our way into the afternoon, we'll see those winds start to increase. This is 4 p.m. You can see in our western viewing area and beyond, that's where those gusts are getting into the 30s. So that's, again, more western parts of our viewing area where the fire weather concern is going to be greater during those warmest periods of the day. As we head into later tonight, you can see that wind field starting to spread eastward, and we see some gusts overnight starting to get into the 30s to near 40 miles per hour. As we wake up tomorrow morning, it's going to be a bit on the breezy side. And as we continue on through the day, looks like this happened again, that timing of that model update is a messing with my presentation here. But the bottom line is that we're looking at winds gusting into the 30s and 40s yet again. So again, looking at conditions that will be windy. We'll just skip past this. But again, looking at winds up to about 40 miles per hour. So let's take a look at our fire weather safety here. We're looking at conditions that are, not necessarily red flag warning conditions, but enough that, it's a good time to avoid burning, put it off until a better day today and especially tomorrow around the region. And during this time, we want to be extra cautious with equipment, with traveling. We want to avoid using equipment that sparks, or at least being extra careful. Check for dragging chains. We want to avoid parking in grass. If you're out for the harvest, make sure you got your fire extinguisher in your combine or in your tractor here, just in case. And, obviously this one is important no matter what. We want to make sure we properly dispose of smoking materials. We don't want to litter, first of all, but also we want to make sure we're not causing any fires inadvertently with that. So again, today's a day to watch. So is tomorrow for fire weather. Here's a look at our wind currently. Not a problem yet. We're looking at wind speeds about 5 to 15 miles per hour. It's coming in out of the southeast as some warmer air continues to push into the valley. So a different day for different areas today. So we're looking at some of us seeing some clouds, more chances for some showers, other places staying more on the sunny side. And we're looking here at our forecast, or excuse me, our loop for our satellite and radar. I've got our black and white visible satellite here. So where you see the grays and whites, that's where we've got clouds. Where you see the dark colors here, or black color, that's where we've got clear conditions and we can see all the way down to the ground without any obstructions. So you can see places in the southeast, we're looking at more cloud cover. Fargo-Moorhead is under some of this cloud cover right now, so it's a little bit gray right now in that area. But then Devil's Lake out to the west, it's more clear, sunny to partly sunny in those areas. And then there's that chance for some rain with this lifting northward as we start to get warmer air moving into the valley here today. You can see that we've got a little shower activity north of Wheaton now in Traverse County. This is going to cross the county line, up Highway 75 into southern Wilkin County shortly. And then other places where the radar is detecting some very light rain as well, maybe the Fairmount area. And if it continues in this trajectory, it may reach the Wahpeton-Breckenridge area this morning too. Maybe in the next, let's see here, just doing a rough calculation. We've got this on a 1 hour loop. So it kind of starts here and then moves north from there. So we're looking at about an hour to an hour and a half or so if it holds in that current trajectory and timeline. So that would be around the Wahpeton area. Fergus Falls, you may see some rain creeping in as well. Of course, if there's more development, it'll move in sooner than that. But again, looking at conditions that are going to get windy. Some of us may see more clouds and rain showers. Other places may see more sunshine in the west, and that helps to contribute to the temperature rise. And again, that risk for the fire danger for today. First alert planner here, looking at the Dakota Magic Casino Skycam. You can see there's some movement to the flags. There's some wind, but it's not that strong just yet. Let's take a look at what we've got going on in North Dakota right now. So Fargo, our temperature is 69 degrees. We're already at 70 in Grand Forks. It's in the mid to upper 60s in Devil's Lake and Jamestown. And we've got wind, again, out of the southeast. And to the afternoon, again, more likely to see 80s in eastern North Dakota today if we can get some good sun. So looking at low to mid 80s across much of that part of the viewing area. Now let's take a look at Minnesota. We are looking at temperatures there in the mid to upper 60s. We're at 63 in Thief River Falls. Vedette is at 64 degrees. And we expect more clouds in Minnesota today again, so temperatures mid to upper 70s. I can't rule out an 80. There will probably be one or two this afternoon, especially in the Southern Valley. But Again, it is going to be slightly cooler, and you might run into a shower or even a thunder shower this afternoon. Let's take a look at our hour-by-hour planner here. This morning we started off with those clouds starting to push in, and a little bit of rain with that too. And by the time we get into afternoon, you can see a very different story from extreme southeastern North Dakota, places like Richland County, Fargo, right on the edge of this cloud deck. And then places to the east, more likely to have clouds, chances for shower activity. And then places west, again, clear and sunny. That allows us to heat up. And that's also where we'll see those strongest winds here this afternoon. And then moving on into 6 o'clock, there's a little thunderstorm there right around Itasca State Park. If you're heading out to do some fall color viewing, that might be an area that sees a quick passing shower. And then as we move into tonight, that continues to roll off to the east. Now, similar to last night, I can't rule out, overnight chances for some rain and thunder as we head into tomorrow morning. You can see some of that lifting northward heading into the start of the day on Wednesday. And windy again, seeing those gusts that are steady in the teens to 20, gusts 30 plus as we work our way into the daytime hours tomorrow. So here's a look at our afternoon highs around the region. Again, more 70s east along the Red River, and west is where we're more likely to see 80s today. But 90s, that might be a tall order for today. We might get there out west, we'll see. But we're more looking at some low to mid 80s for highs. Okay, so that's today and tomorrow. We've got first alert weather days, but there is a chance for more widespread precipitation coming our way toward the end of the week. And so here's a look at what we've got going on. Next couple of days, today, tomorrow, no chances for rain, or I should say very low chances. Again, there may be a few showers that pass by, and that fire danger will be there. Thursday, chances for rain are low, but the wind will be less. So we're looking at more for Thursday, the potential for seeing some record highs. That might be one of our warmest days here in the stretch. So watching out for more heat. Friday's going to be toasty too, but we're going to see the cold front start to move through on Friday, and then that brings about some change. And you can see chances for rain. Right now, Saturday night into Sunday during the day look to be our best chances for rain coming up here in the forecast. So let's time this out for you. I'm going to start off on Friday morning. One thing I want to stress is that our long-range forecast models, the two we tend to really scrutinize, the American, the GFS model, and then the European model, both are not in great agreement on placement and timing of rain. Both are showing that we'll get a decent amount of rain somewhere in the valley over the weekend. And then the other thing is that each model is not showing some great consistency from run to run. These models run either every 12 hours or every 4 times a day, every 6 hours, and each time, it changes a little bit. So we're not seeing a lot of consistency in timing and location, so we can't nail that down just yet. But the amount of moisture, the fact that there will be moisture is pretty consistent. So we're pretty confident that we're going to be seeing some rain coming up starting Friday and into the weekend. So with that being said, let's take a look at our planner here. Starting Friday morning, we're going to be watching that cold front move into the valley. And so maybe northern valley more likely to seeing rain on Friday. That doesn't mean we'll be escaping it completely in the southern valley. But that's what it looks like right now. So if you've got Friday plans to do some leaf peeping, to head out to Friday night football games, check back with us Thursday and Friday again as we get closer to it. And then overnight into Saturday morning. Yesterday I was hopeful. The model was showing clear skies, a nice day on Saturday. Well, now this model, this is the European model, by the way, is showing more rain, especially north during the daytime, and then starting to make its way southward and filling up more of the southern valley as we head into Saturday evening and then continuing on into the overnight hours and into Sunday. You can see this large area of rain affecting us into Sunday morning, and then continuing on into Sunday afternoon and evening. This model has it clearing out pretty quickly. So we'll see what happens here. But again, there's not a lot of consensus going on just yet. As we get closer, we'll have access to more short-range models, more high-resolution models that will help us to come up with that forecast, that more pinpoint forecast for the end of the week and the weekend. So I want to take a look at rain through Sunday. I want to show you both models that we're looking at here. This is the European. I don't have it labeled here, but this is the European model. And you can see that everybody has a chance for some rain in the valley, but a lot of places may only get, in the blue area here, up to a ½ inch of rain. And this is, again, now all the way through Sunday night, so the next 7 days, or I should say 6 days now. And then into the southern valley and east, This model is pointing the swath of 1 to 2 inches more toward places like Fergus Falls, Detroit Lakes, Bemidji, Wahpeton, Breckenridge as well, and even a little orange on the map, which would be a little over 2 inches of rain. So looking at that, there's one model. Now watch what happens as we move to the GFS model. This is the American model. It's all the way on the other side of the valley, but there is still that chance, that path of 1 to 2 inches of rain. Again, so we're looking at that possibility anywhere in the valley right now, and it looks like a decent amount of moisture coming our way, which would help to tamp down the fire weather risk, help with a kind of soaking up some of those dry conditions that we've got going on in the valley. But, you know, it does kind of hamper the weekend. It might make some fields a little bit on the soggy side as we head into the day on Sunday. So that brings about change. That's part of a pattern shift we're going to see as we head toward next week. So if you love summertime weather, you know, this has been a nice bonus, a nice second summer, and enjoy it because we have several days of it. It will get windier here in the forecast today on this last day of September. And then again, Wednesday, that first day of October, is going to be kind of a windy one with those gusts 30 plus miles per hour. And there will be that fire risk as well. So that's why we have first alert weather days for both days. And then Thursday, again, looking toasty, mid to upper 80s with conditions that are going to be a little quieter coming up for Thursday, mostly sunny skies. And then Friday, still warm, still getting into the 80s, but that cold front will start to move through. That's going to start to introduce a few showers, and then a chance for rain Saturday and Sunday. One thing we don't have on our 11-day here is a thunderstorm cloud. I do think we have a chance at seeing some thunderstorms embedded. Do I think they'll be severe? Not right now, but it looks like we do have a chance for some thunderstorms, so keep that in mind for outdoor plans. And once this, you can see our temperature starting to come down over the weekend too, and once it clears into next week, we've got 60s. Now, this is going to feel like a huge cool down, and really it is. We're looking at a good 20-degree difference for forecast highs, but this is actually average for early October. In fact, a few of these days are even above average. So really just kind of coming back down to reality for that first full week of October here after we've got near record or even record-setting highs this week. So again, we talked about this yesterday, a little something for everyone. This is the week for summer lovers. Next week is the week for fall lovers. And if you want some rain, that's coming this weekend. And in between, we've got some sunshine. We just have to watch out for, again, the possibility for fire danger today and tomorrow with the wind picking up. So, again, some changes coming. And in the meantime, it's going to be feeling toasty here the next few days. And we'll be watching for, again, the wind creating an issue. And then we'll, of course, be tracking that system and the possibility for rain Friday and into the weekend with a more, again, detailed forecast as we get a couple of days closer to Saturday and Sunday's chances for rain. And yes, on Friday, too, there's a chance as well for some of us. So, again, it is the last day of September. Enjoy it. And the first day of October, I'll be back to keep you up to date on what's next in the forecast and focusing in on our fire danger and eventually our chances for rain and cool down as well. So have a great Wednesday. Have a great last day of September, and we'll see you in October.